Carney is meeting with Trump today, and sounds like Trump really was like, I'm not sure what our meeting's about. Which I thought was like, man.
He called, and the guy from Canada called, and he said he's coming over for lunch, and I'm not sure what he wants, but okay. That's
Yeah,
Trump's response, like treating Mark Carney just like a trick or treater. Like, "No, I don't
right.
know really why he's
Yeah, but you
here."
would at
Just
least know why the trick-or-treaters are knocking on your door, right?
That's true. It's true.
Look at
Ooh, ooh, I
these.
can't wait to get into this.
Okay, so we've got President Trump and Canada's Liberal Prime Minister Mark Carney meet in the White House for the first time after months of tariffs and Canada's federal leadership changes. Let's watch. Maybe this is my daily dose of cringe. I'm already anxious because I'm worried about how our osteoporotic prime minister, who thinks he's smarter than everybody else, is going to react to Trump, because Trump is rough around the edges, but he is also, I mean, look at the place. Fancy as all get out. And
Yes.
he, he's unimpressed by a banker, like you just know he is. So
Right.
let's hear what he has to say.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Mark Carney with us. As you know, just a few days ago, he won a very big election in Canada. And I think I was probably the greatest thing that happened to him, but I can't take full credit. His party was losing by a lot, and he ended up winning. So I really want to congratulate him. It was probably one of the greatest comebacks in the history of politics, maybe even greater than mine. But I want to just congratulate you. That was a great election, actually. We were watching it with interest, and I think Canada chose a very talented person, a very good person, as we spoke before the election quite a few times. And it's an honor to have you at the White House and the Oval Office. And you see the new and improved Oval Office as it becomes more and more beautiful with love. We handle it with great love and 24 karat gold. That always helps too. Right? But it's been a lot of fun. We're going over some of the beautiful pictures that were stored in the vaults that were for many, many years, in some cases over 100 years. They were stored in vaults of the great presidents, who are almost great presidents, all having a reason for being up, every one of them. So it's very interesting. But I just want to congratulate you, and ran a really great race. I watched the debate. I thought you were excellent, and I think we have a lot of things in common. We have some tough points to go over, and that'll be fine. But we're going to also be discussing Ukraine, Russia, the war, because Mark wants it ended as quickly as I do. I think it has to end. Mark, would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm on the edge of my seat, actually. But thank you for your hospitality and above all for your leadership. You're a transformational president. Focus on the economy with a relentless focus on the American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world. And I've been elected with my colleagues here, with the help of my colleagues here. I'm going to spread the credit to transform Canada with a similar focus on the economy, securing our borders, again on fentanyl. Much greater focus on defense and security, securing the Arctic and developing the Arctic. And the history of Canada and the U.S. is we're stronger when we work together, and there's many opportunities to work together. And I look forward to, addressing some of those issues that we have, but also finding those areas of mutual cooperation so we can go forward.
That's great. Very nice. Thank you very much. It's a very nice statement.
Well,
okay, I'm full of things to say, but at Mark Carney, he was probably like, okay, what did cheating off Polyev, like, oh, we're gonna stop the scourge of fentanyl. Would you mind quit giving opioids to people? Can we start there? We're gonna secure the borders. You guys are the ones that destroyed the border, and protecting the Arctic. Like, that is, Polyev made that announcement in the Arctic. You're a cheater.
These are things that we have never, ever, ever heard Mark Carney say ever.
He didn't campaign on this stuff.
This is Mark Carney, chief butt kisser of
Oh yeah.
President Donald Trump. Like, this is
Oh,
Carney
you
kissing
saw it.
his butt. But this is completely new to Canadians. We never heard this in the campaign. This was not part of the conversation. As a matter of fact, Mark Carney was antagonistic and awful and ran on an anti-Trump platform. Does
Right.
Trump not remember that? He
No, I think
literally
he does. I think he's being a chaos goblin again, where he's
uh,
like, now he's elected. The conservative is going to win his seat handedly. We're probably going to be back at election within, I suspect, maybe 2 years. And
yeah.
so let me just sow some chaos, sprinkling the chaos around like Johnny Appleseed and saying like, oh, you're the guy. I really like you. We have a lot of things in common.
Right.
Because I think he knows that being called Trumpy in Canada, at least to the sweater set types, are like, that is lethal. And so he's sort of making it like, he's my guy now. So I don't know
Right.
to what end Trump would do this, except that he's just a chaos goblin on the best of days towards the rest of the world.
Right. And the truth will be, like, the proof is going to be in the pudding, which is going to come after, when he's asked about the meeting, right? Like, he's being
Right.
really conciliatory right now and being really friendly neighbor, but it's going to come out in the interviews after the meeting. So we'll see what Trump has to say. That's when we're going to get the real goods.
Right. Let's skip ahead to Donald Trump's Truth Social post about the meeting.
Mm.
Because he talks about this. He says, and this is to your point, that we need to listen to after what happens. So you already heard what Howard Lutnick thinks of us. And you like, of course.
Oof.
And Trump is trying to be a good host, right? Like, he's like, and this is my nice new furniture. And he's giving like the real estate tour of the White House.
Enjoy the 24-karat gold trim that we've installed in the Oval Office recently. Like, he's pulling a Trump Tower reveal in the Oval Office.
Right.
It's kind of awesome. It's kind of awesome.
Right. So basically saying, like, you might be like a billionaire banker with globalist connections, but I don't care, because right behind me is a 24-karat gold eagle. You think I care? Like that's what that was about. But this is, skip ahead. Let's go to what Trump had to say. He said, I look forward to meeting with the new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney. I very much want to work with him, but I can't understand one simple truth. Why is America subsidizing Canada by $200 billion a year, in addition to giving them free military protection and many other things? We don't need their cars. We don't need their energy. I disagree. You do need our energy. Otherwise, you don't have, your refineries are fit for our kind of oil. So you can get it from us, or you can get it from Venezuela. And I'm pretty sure you don't want it from Venezuela. And many other things. We don't need anything they have other than their friendship, which hopefully we will always maintain. They, on the other hand, need everything from us. The Prime Minister will be arriving shortly, and that will be most likely my only question of consequence.
So they're going to start negotiating on the tariffs, like, right now, is what Trump is saying. He's going to start this negotiation with Mark Carney, and we'll see how Mark Carney stands up to the toughest big schwinger in the entire world.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a lot of confidence. I saw the wee little clip of Mark Carney arriving at the White House.
He looks so frail. He looks so frail. He looks like a little old lady.
With his little convex back. Somebody corrected me as a convex.
He's got
like,
shrimp posture. Like, he's got the posture of a shrimp.
Yes. Little crustacean arriving at the White House. Oh, this, like, his fist pump gives me secondhand cringe to no end. Like, is level 10 monkey see, monkey do. Just wait. Because so then Trump will do a little fist pump. Watch. And here goes Carney. Oh, like,
Stop
I want to die. I just want to die. Like, it's actually so embarrassing. So anyway, I just saw that little piece. I was like, okay, well. Oh,
it's like all the energy that he had. He has to go lay down now in the Oval Office, because he's like,
little weak fist. What happened to your elbows up, loser? What happened to that? I mean, that was a pretty weak. That was a pretty weak elbows up, if I must say so myself.
And do you not think for a second that JD Vance is full of intel, thanks to Jamil Javani, about how this should all go?
I love this so much that we have a guy on the inside, like, who is best buddies. So Jamil Javani, for anybody that doesn't know, Jamil Javani and JD Vance were roommates in university. So they are very tight. They've got a real tight relationship. And I just can't wait to see how this plays out, because of course Trump would have all of that intel. Like, of course he would.
Do you agree with me? It is time to make Canada great again. And that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA Hats to introduce, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada great again.
Yeah. Let's go to Howard Lutnick.
Let's.
Howard Lutnick.
Love Lutnick.
He's so fun. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who does have a very good relationship, I think, with Premier Daniel Smith, whom we'll get to in a little bit. He has called Canada a socialist regime. And I would like someone to tell me, where's the lie? He's says, can we make a deal with Canada? Maybe we have a clip of this. I don't know. But he told Fox Business Network's Larry Kudlow, I think it's really complex. I mean, this is really complex because they have been basically feeding off us for decades upon decades upon decades, right? They have their socialist regime, and it's basically feeding off America. I mean, the president calls it out all the time. Suckling.
Feeding. Calls us a parasite. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Why do we make our films in Canada? Come on. So I think it's going to be a fascinating meeting. I'm glad I'm going to be there listening, but it's going to be a fascinating meeting tomorrow. I just don't see how it works out so perfect. Anyway. Yeah, that's sort of they also basically said we're going to repatriate our film manufacturing.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't know why they're doing it in Canada. I mean, we have all these locations that could double as any place in the United States, and they can do it for like 30 to 50% less, thanks to our pathetic dollar. So I get why they film here for sure, but I also get why Trump wants to bring it home.
Yep. A lot of jurisdictions in Canada have invested a great many millions of dollars into developing our film sector.
Bragg Creek, south of Calgary. It doubles as every Western town anywhere, right? Like this is how it is.
Regina has one of the most technologically advanced sound stages in the world, and Trump is putting a stop to that. So it's bad for Canada, but Trump did run on an America First platform, and he's got people like Mel Gibson and John Voight in his back pocket saying we need to bring the film industry back to Hollywood. Right. Like Hollywood is famous for making movies, and other than the sign, it's cheaper to fly an entire crew to Romania or to Canada or to wherever to film because of the regulatory burdens on American film production. So this will be really interesting to watch unfold too.
Yeah, like some of your most popular shows, many of them were filmed in Vancouver because Vancouver can double for a lot of places. I mean, this is decades worth of a problem though. This started with the X-Files. X-Files was filmed in Vancouver, in and around Vancouver.
30 years ago. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's move ahead. Melanie Joly. Now look at these guys all sucking up to Trump now that their anti-Trump stance won them the election with boomers. And again, I have to preface this by saying, if you are a David Menzies boomer, don't write me a letter. I'm not talking about you. But anyways,
We
now
love the conservative boomers. Yeah.
Yeah,
love
they're
you
the
guys.
best.
Yeah.
Foreign Minister Melanie Joly privately praised the United States for taking a hard stand on drugs. That's the hard stand on drugs that her government was unwilling to take. And if you took it, then you would not care about the suffering of the addicts. Well, I care about the suffering of their families at the end of the day, if I had to choose. She said, and she said this after Trump threatened 25% tariffs in the name of border security, records show. The comments were at odds with Cabinet's public statements and were scripted in notes for a Mar-a-Lago conference. These people, this makes it abundantly clear that being anti-Trump was an election choice because it would appeal to a very certain demographic who fell for it.
Well, it was an election lie. That's right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. It was an election lie. The duplicity that they're showing here, the Liberal Party of Canada, and this will be no surprise to our viewers that the Liberals are duplicitous in almost everything they do, that what they say and what they do are almost always at odds with each other, and they can't be trusted to follow through on what they say they're going to do, or the sort of the meaning behind it. When they say, just for an example, medical assistance in dying. I mean, when they talk about that, it's not to relieve the suffering of Canadians. It's to make it cheaper for them to operate. Everything they say has a double meaning that should be inspected. And this is just another example.
Okay, we've got more Trump clips.
Ooh, let's go.
Our team is cutting them as they go.
Okay.
They're asked about the 51st state with Carney sitting right there. He says,
get ready?
I'm ready. You know what? I don't think the entire country could be the 51st state. I don't think Trump would want it. I have my own opinions. And then we have an editorial position at Rebel News, which is like, we don't take an opinion, except this will be a place where people who can share their opinions without being told to shut up and treated as fringe radicals or as seditionists, as Mark Carney would probably label them. But Carney deserves every little bit of this.
Yes.
Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to get your response to this too. But Mr. President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state.
No. Well, I still believe that, but takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, as a real estate developer, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be. But, I do feel it's much better for Canada. But we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace, that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the president has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have, I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never.
Sure.
Never.
Never say never.
Never say never.
There's something quite exquisite about Mark Carney having to sit there and suck on his teeth while Trump tells him that Canadian taxes are too high, that your healthcare system is crappy, and your military is totally decrepit and in disrepair. And he had to sit there and take it and just stare at the sky and suck on his teeth.
Just bite his tongue. Because Mark Carney is the type of man who is accustomed to being listened to when he says things. And so in that situation, it was extraordinarily uncomfortable for him to listen to Trump say that. But that he said Canada is not for sale. Again, you're there to sell our products. You're there to sell our products. So maybe think of a new line. And it's really interesting what's happening next door in Alberta and in Saskatchewan, the conversations that we're having. I don't think Mark Carney is 100% on point with that statement.
No,
I think that a great many Westerners are looking for some friendly conversations between us and our American neighbors right now. So
you could tell that he was carefully coached, Mark Carney, to not say anything that might engage JD Vance. I think that he was coached to not do anything that might invite the Zelensky treatment upon him, because it went well until JD Vance had enough of Zelensky's baloney. And he was like, you know what? Trump's being nice, but I won't be. I'm going to get involved. And so I think Carney was very carefully coached to just
tiptoeing. Yes, tiptoe around.
Stick to the same 5 lines and like wrap it up if that man on the couch across from you even looks at you wrong. Evacuate the room. I think that's what he was told, because you could tell he was real careful there.
Yeah, tread very carefully, Mark Carney.
We've got one more clip, I guess. They're talking about the tariffs ahead of negotiations with the White House. And then I think that's all the Trump clips we have for now.
Okay.
What would it take to get the tariffs off of Canada?
Well, we'll be talking about different things. Like, we want to protect our automobile business, and so does Mark. But we want to make the automobiles, and we want to, we have a tremendous abundance of energy, more than any country. We have, just in Alaska alone, ANWR has been reopened now. ANWR is probably the largest find anywhere in the world. They say it's larger than Saudi Arabia. I don't know, but it's a lot. But we have tremendous amounts of energy. Other countries don't. We're both lucky in that way. They have energy. We have energy. We have more than we can ever use and more than we could ever sell, actually. And you have the same thing. So we're 2 countries that are very lucky. If you look at China, they don't have that. It's a big disadvantage. Other countries, most countries don't have. Most countries don't have that. So Canada and us, we have a lot of advantages over other places.
When you consider what Mr. Carney just said, that Canada is not for sale, does this make the discussion a little more difficult to start on?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, time will tell. It's only time. But I say never. I've had many, many things that were not doable, and they ended up being doable, and only doable in a very friendly way. But if it's to everybody's benefit, Canada loves us and we love Canada. That's, I think, the number one thing that's important. But we'll see. I mean, over time, we'll see what happens.
Time is on his side, too, by the way. And, again, Mark Carney's going to just sit there and take it. And I enjoy every little bit of this.
Me, too. Ooh, to see him in a hot seat there with that absolute tsunami of press. What a room to be in. That would be uncomfortable for Mark Carney or any person visiting from abroad.
I enjoyed that. I know there are other clips coming in. Some of them are a little long. Maybe we could just show the first little bit. Olivia, I don't know if you see that. Maybe we'll get to it later. Trump basically tells they're talking about the tariffs again, and he says it's just the way it is. And basically telling Carney, thanks for coming. Thanks for looking at my gold-plated home and my new artwork that I put out on the wall for you to come visit so I could show off how unimpressed I am by you. But there's nothing really that Canada can do to lift tariffs against us. And so I'm not sure what everybody's doing there, except Mark Carney subjecting himself to public humiliation.
A public humiliation ritual. I wonder if he lifts his elbows. Like, I wonder if he shows his elbows off in that moment. Well, here's my response, sir.
Yeah.
That's right.
Goofy man. Just cringy. Okay. Do we have, oh yes, we do. We have a couple of chats. Oh, Olivia found it. Okay. Let's show just the first little bit of this. It's almost 5 minutes long. I know that's too long to show, but hopefully we can get to where Trump says, it's just the way it is. Is my pocket dirty? No. It's just falling off. Okay, let's it's just old. Okay, let's watch this.
No. Please hold.
Please.
What changes would you like to see to the USMCA? Or what changes would you like to make?
We're going to work on some subtle changes, maybe. I don't even know if we're going to be dealing with the USMCA. We're dealing more with concepts right now. Look, right now, we're doing trade. We have trade. They're paying a tariff on cars and steel and aluminum. And I think we have a baseline of 10% or something like that for the tariffs. But we're getting along very well. Right now, going no further, but we have an agreement. We did something with even parts. You want to discuss that, Howard, with respect to Canada, which helps Canada out?
Sure. So we've made an arrangement with the car companies that 15% of their USMCA parts are included, and then 15% of foreign parts from the manufactured suggested retail price are not tariffed to help domestic manufacturing really thrive.
So it gave them a chance to be able to build their car parts factories if they're going to. A lot of these companies already have factories, and what they have to do is just fill them out. But they're able to build them in the United States, so we gave them a pretty substantial period of time.
Just to clarify, Mr. President, is there anything the Prime Minister can say to you today to change your mind on tariffing Canada?
Tariffing cars?
Tariffing Canada. Is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No.
Why not?
Just the way it is.
What's your if you first say Canadians don't want it, would you respect that?
Sure, I would. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time they have to make that decision. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. Respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st state. Secondly, we are the largest client of the United States in the totality of all the goods. So we are the largest client of the United States. We have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us, and the changes that made have been helpful. 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. That's not like anywhere else in the world. And to your question about is there one thing? No, this is a bigger discussion. There are much bigger forces involved. And this will take some time and some discussions, and that's why we're here, to have those discussions, and that is represented by who's sitting around the table.
See, the conflict is, and this is very friendly. We're not. This is not going to be like we had another little blow up with somebody else. That was a much different. This is a very friendly conversation.
JD.
But we want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada, and we put tariffs on cars from Canada. And at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things because we want to be able to do it ourselves.
Sucking his teeth again.
We, because of past thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us, and there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada. Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said, that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said, that's a strange answer, but I understand his answer. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair. But why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial number. And it's hard for the American taxpayer to say, gee whiz, we love doing that. Thank you very much. We're going to have a very substantial. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's good. Carney didn't even get to respond to that.
Not even a word in edgewise. They didn't even give him a word to get in edgewise. Not even.
And then they're like, the journalist starts screaming, and Trump is like, okay, and that's it. And did you see JD Vance just laughing the whole way through?
Just leaning back and watching it unravel. But what's really interesting in this is that Trump talks about tariffing cars and steel and aluminum. These are all Ontario's industries. Yeah. And this is thanks to Doug Ford's antagonistic and absolutely tone-deaf response in the run-up to the federal election, that the people of Ontario are being punished for Doug Ford's bad moves. And I think increasingly, more and more every day, the people of Ontario are realizing just what a huge mistake that was, to put a bloviating, grandstanding Doug Ford in front of cameras to crap talk the United States, when Ontario workers very, very much need to be in the good graces of the administration of the United States right now.
Yeah,
so
and
that's really interesting.
As I said to David the other day, Windsor, at least portions of it went blue. So the people affected by the auto tariffs actually thought that the Conservatives were the right ones to help them get around it. Mm-hmm. For all those people who voted for Carney because they thought that he was the right man to fight Trump, he couldn't even get a word in edgewise. They laughed at him to his face in there. And Trump just said, it's just the way it is. Those tariffs are staying. So
is there any one thing Canada can do? Nope. Nope. Have fun.
So good job. Good job, Ontario Liberal boomers.
Let's face it, Canada's economy isn't heading in the right direction. Inflation's eating away your savings, and government debt is out of control. No politician is going to fix that overnight. With Guildhall Wealth, you can hold real physical gold and silver inside your RRSP. It's a time-tested way to protect your retirement and take back control of your wealth. Call 1-877-8-SILVER or visit guildhallwealth.com/rebel to request your free investor kit. And hey, make sure to mention Rebel News.